こんにちは。アルファアドバイザーズの坂下です。今日はシーブスですね。中国のトップランクのビジネススクールのご紹介をしていきたいと思います。で、中国の MBA は行きたいっていう方、気になっている方、結構ね、たくさんいらっしゃるんですけども、実際にどのくらい、自分がスキルアップしていけるのかとか、そもそも中国語ができないとダメなんじゃないかとか、もう最近中国は、最近ではないですね、もうここずっと、やっぱり中国のマーケットっていうのは大きくなってますし、興味を持っている方も多い一方で、中国の MBA ってどこがいいんだろうとか、中国とアメリカだったら自分はどっちに行ったらいいんだろうっていう方もたくさんご相談にいただいております。で、今日は中国のシーブスですね。トップランクのビジネススクールで、日本でもすごくね、有名な起業家の方を輩出していたりとか、あとは卒業生の方も外資金融とかコンサルとか、いろいろな業界にキャリアアップしていくビジネススクールなんですけれども、詳しくビジネススクールで学習する内容とか、カリキュラムとか、特徴を伺っていきたいと思います。で、今日はフルタイム、もう実際に現地に行って、生活をする、会社を休職するなり辞めるなり、あるいは社費で行くなりっていう形で、現地に行くタイプの MBA と、あとはパートタイムで、時々1ヶ月に数日間通うようなエグゼクティブ MBA プログラムについてもご紹介いただきます。で、MBA と一口に言っても、今お話したように、現地に完全に行ってしまう形と、あとは時々通う、会社を続けながら時々通うっていうタイプもあるんですよね。で、特に日本企業にお勤めの方なんかは、エグゼクティブ MBA 社費で行ったり、あとは自分のキャリアチェンジのために行く方なんかもいますので、ぜひ、いろんなこういうカリキュラムがあるんだなっていう参考にもなると思うので、MBA に興味ある方とか、グローバルにキャリアアップしたいとか、アジアでビジネスしたいとか、もっとアジアの自分の強みを、作っていきたい。そういう方は、ぜひ最後までご覧いただければと思います。で、セッションは英語なんですけど、私も日本語でフォローアップしながらやっていきますし、ご質問があればどんなことでも聞いていただければと思います。中国はね、ご興味がある方もいると思うんですけど、ビザのこととか、あとはCOVID があったりして、実際どうなんだろうって思っている方もいると思うんですよね。そのあたりも今日はね、いろいろ切り込んで聞いていきたいと思っております。で、あとは今こちらに出ているのはイベントのお知らせですね。6月の24日、今月のあと2週間後くらいに東京でイベントが開催されます。で、なんとこちらのイベントは日本人のアラムナイ、卒業生の方が20名以上来られるということで、実際なんで中国の MBA に行ったのかとか、どういうキャリアを歩んできたのかとか、直接20人の卒業生に一気に聞かれる機会ってなかなかないので、ぜひ出席してみていただければと思います。で、場所はですね、シャングリラホテルっていう、東京駅にあるね、素晴らしい場所でやりますし、6時半からなので、途中から、遅れて参加もできますし、ぜひご興味がある方はご参加ください。で、アルファもですね、いろいろなビジネススクールさんとイベントなんかやらせてもらってるんですけども、アルファでも MBA のサポートしているので、このイベントに出られて、その後 MBA の相談がしたいとか、MBA の出願の準備がしたいとか、そういう方は個別指導割引っていうのもありますので、ぜひ皆さんご興味がある方は立ち寄っていただければと思います。で、後で中の方で実際にイベントでどういうことをやるのかっていうのも詳しくお話しいただきます。あと体験授業もね、今回のイベントではあるみたいなので、中国に限らずビジネススクールの授業ってどんな感じなんだろうっていうのも体験できると思います。もちろん無料のイベントですので、ぜひ皆さん興味がある方は来てください。私とアルファ代表の入住さんもご招待いただいているので、行こうかなと思っております。はい。ということで、ここからは、シーブスの今日はグローバルエグゼクティブ MBA と、あとはフルタイムの MBA の担当アドミッションの方にですね、いろいろお話をいただこうと思います。皆さんご質問、コメントがあれば、ぜひ YouTube のコメント欄に入れていただければと思います。それでは、始めていきたいと思います。So, Lena,could you start your presentation at first?
So, thank you so much, Amy, and thank you everyone for listening in here today. My name is Lena, and I'm actually from Denmark, but I am based here in Shanghai. And as Amy introduced, I work with the global Mba here, and I will be talking a little bit about this for the next 10-15 minutes. But before I dive into that, I would like to share a short video with you all with a few words from our Associate Dean to give you a deeper impression of Ceibs and what we do here. So please watch this video first.
Based on what is happening to the economic environment, both in China as well as the world, I have to say there is no better time for you to think about an Mba than right now. The mission of the school basically is to help develop responsible leaders who are well versed in China and the world. That's how you get this China depth global breadth idea. Being a leader is not difficult, but being a leader among leaders is where the challenge is going to be for you.
So, as you just heard, our Associate Dean, Professor Bala Ramasamy, introduce the mission behind Ceibs is to educate responsible business leaders with global breadth and China depth. So I want to say a few words about Ceibs before I talk more about the global Mba program. Overall, if we look behind these words of wisdom from the Associate Dean, you can actually see the history of Ceibs is founded as a joint venture between the European Commission and the Shanghai municipal government, and it is founded in the early 90s as one of the first schools that also offered English language MBA and Emba. It is a international business school that is rooted here in China, and we have 3 campuses here. But we also have campus in Zurich, in Europe, and in Accra, in Africa, in Ghana. We have a truly global environment with students from all over the world, including, of course, also Japan. We teach international global modules in Southeast Asia, as well as Europe, Africa, and other parts of the world. We have international faculty as well from many different countries. And in fact, in the almost 30 years Ceibs existed, we have expanded the different program degrees that we offer. So there are program degrees like Emba and Mba, as we talk about today, but we have other programs as well, where we try to help students educate themselves in a global perspective with a China lens as well. Of course, for any great business school, the very core is the faculty. So we are very fortunate here at Ceibs to have excellent scholars and fantastic teachers as well. We actually have around 120 faculty here from 17 different countries around the world, and they are excellent teachers who also cited in some of the best research as best researchers in the world. And actually for Ceibs, another special key point is we are the only school in the world that develop over 100 China-focused business cases. That means we are able to share this knowledge, this China depth to our students, as well as teaching, of course, international business cases from Harvard. But the China focused ones are born here and developed here. So this is a very special thing for Ceibs as one of the top business schools in Asia. If I focus a little bit more on the global Emba or executive MBA, we are in fact ranked second in the world by the Financial Times. We are very proud to have this high ranking for 3 years in a row. But actually, if you look into the almost 30-year history of Ceibs, the program is ranked top 20 for 20 years or top 5 for the last 5 years. So we have a historical way to show the high quality of the program. If you look even further behind these rankings, actually you can see why we are ranking so highly. It's because our students, for example, they have a good salary level or career level when they enroll in the Mba, but certainly the career progress over the 5 years from the enroll have a very good exponential progress. So these are some of the things that are behind the rankings, in addition to the excellent scholars, of course, and the academic environment. Very briefly about the global executive MBA. If we look at the program content, what does the program design look like? You can see this model here. So we base the full degree on some of those core business fundamental skills that are necessary for leaders of today and the future. And we allow students to really hone these strategic capabilities throughout the degree. But actually, the main key point or core point for the global Mba is a very strong leadership stream. So leadership, as we heard in the video, is a key element of our program. And it does not mean people come to study leadership to become leaders in the global Mba, but actually they come to improve their leadership, to elevate their leadership and drive their organizations forward. So there is a major emphasis from our side on leadership coupled with social responsibility, which runs all the way through the program. This is encapsulated in this global breadth. As I said, the global environment, professors, students, and global topics, global courses, as well as the China depth, where there are courses that focus, for example, on China economy. We have some deep dives in the China market where we visit companies and have blended learning experiences with the professor and the market together. So this all encapsulates the core base as well as the leadership stream of the global Mba program. This is a very simple structure to show you how it is put together. So as you can see, it's a part-time program that runs over 20 months. We have 2 different ways to attend every month or every second month. And you can expect to be away from your executive job for about 50 days for the full degree. If you look at how things are put together, we start again in the left side here with a very powerful leadership module to kick off this journey, and it runs all the way through. We have some mid-journey modules to reflect on your leadership, and of course in the end as well. So you have to develop as a leader, and from the day one you have to practice leadership. In the middle we have the core courses here. As I mentioned, all those basic business capabilities that you must hone as a business leader. In the latter part, you will have more opportunity to choose some electives. So this is the way you can tailor your journey. So if you are an entrepreneur, for example, you may be able to select between different global or local electives that are focused on entrepreneurship and innovation. In China and in the world, we have different options. If you are corporate CFO, but you lack some management capability or want to strengthen this, you may choose to focus more on some management courses and modules. And then, of course, you must take at least 4 global modules. This is a way to learn and reflect, and it's a key part of doing the global Mba. And those global modules could be, as I said, many places in the world. Very briefly, I mentioned we have two different ways to attend the Global EMBA. One way is every month for 4 consecutive days, you have one module. This way is very popular for those who are based in the China area, but we also have what we call double module track. Here you have the exact same course experience. However, the time distribution is different. You will attend every second month, and then instead of one module for 4 days, you do 2. So you have 8 days every second month. This way could be more attractive for some of our students who may be based in Europe, Africa, South America, or even Japan. However, when I look at some of the students we have from Japan, although based in Japan, they also chose the single module track to fly to our courses every month. So those modules are open to your choice. That's very basically about the structure and the content. But I think what I get asked a lot is, who will be my classmates? Who will be in this classroom with me, learning together with me? I think especially for the executive level MBA, every leader will know that for preparing for this volatile future, you do need to learn from other people that have a different background than you, that comes from a different industry or function. This here is a very simple snapshot of our students in the Global EMBA from the last cohort. And our requirements are, you must have minimum 10 years working experience and minimum 7 years managerial experience. However, you can see here that on average, our students are somewhat more senior. For example, average is 17 years work experience. What you may also notice is that we care a lot about diversity. It's a key aspect of our program, as I said, to maintain a high level study environment. So you see we have 50% female, we have people from 18 different countries and regions, and also people around half, they have a master's degree or above. So we do also have people in our program that have PhD and similar. And actually the same goes for the industry background. We want to put together a class that has as much diversity as possible. This snapshot, again, you will see we have people coming from pharmaceutical, automobile, consumer goods, electronics, and many different backgrounds. The exact same picture is for the functional background, whereas many will come with a general manager background. We also have people who are in marketing, in finance, in project management, and engineering. When we look at what type of company do they come from, it's also diverse. We have people coming from MNCs, big multinational companies, international companies, but we have also people coming from local companies, family-owned companies, and even entrepreneurs who are also interested in developing themselves as leaders and, of course, their companies. All in all, what we try to achieve is to create that diverse classroom to provide the key learning. And what you can see from those very short background slides is that you will be able to sit in a class with executive level people of your peers who may be vastly different from you, but it will allow you to learn and prepare for the future and improve yourself. My very last, very short introduction here will end with the last slide, where I will just mention that our enrollment for this year, 2023, will be in December. So we have, in fact, still 2 application deadlines in this year, in August, in October. I will not go through the whole application process. I will just mention that if you are thinking this program or Ceibs is something you are interested in, I will encourage you to get in touch via Amy to speak with the admission team and learn more. Most of our process is online via our website, but it is strongly recommended to speak directly with us so we can guide you through the process. I think that's my time for today. I will look forward to some questions in the very end. But for now, I would like to pass the spotlight to my good colleague, Li Jun from the MBA program.
Thank you, Lena, for the sharing.
Thank you, Rina. So before moving on to the full-time MBA presentation and also during the preparation, can I ask some question about Mba program?
Please.
Yes, so about the program strengths, I believe that the knowledge and skills of an executive MBA and also the status of Ceibs alumni will give students the strongest status in China. So how will it help the company or the business growth and expansion in China?
Thank you. I think this is an excellent question. First of all, I think the strength of Ceibs, of course, as the #1 business school in China, and with those capabilities of our faculty to have to provide this China depth, you will be able to access more information and knowledge about the market from an academic side. But the other side, which is equally, if not more important, is, as I mentioned, your classmates. We have about 30 to 35% international students in the global EMBA, which means we also have our Chinese students, fellow students. So you will be able to learn from your fellow students as well. So those are the two main things. The third thing I would say is, of course, you will be able to build your network as well in China, which, as we all know, can be a key element to success. So knowledge and network are the two things that you can explore in the global EMBA at Ceibs.
Thank you. So the programs has the China specific case study or some business, there is a capstone project, so business hands-on project and so on during the program.
Correct. And of course, we also have the global breadth. So it's not only about China, but you are correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And we will move on to the full-time MBA program presentation. But before that, what is the key difference between Mba and full-time MBA program?
Thank you. That's also a very good question. I think we get it a lot. I think Li Jun will also agree with this, that we get this question often. So I would say, of course, one main key difference is the MBA is a full-time study, whereas the EMBA is a part-time study. So in the global EMBA, people do keep their job and career while they do study part-time. So this is one of the main differences. The second main difference is, of course, EMBA stands for Executive MBA. So the level of the students is quite different, whereas they will be slightly younger in the MBA. In the global EMBA, the average age is around 40, and the experience level is about 17 years on average. So this is another key difference.
Thank you. So let's move on to the full-time MBA presentation. Ling Wing, can you start your presentation?
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Emmy, for putting up this wonderful platform so we can talk to our prospective students. And before I begin to talk about our MBA program, I'd like to talk about business first, because MBA is all about business. And let's have a look at the tree map here. So can anyone have a guess on what's it about? So because I cannot see anyone's chat box, Amy, could you to check on whether we have any response from our audience on YouTube?
Yes, please continue your presentation.
Okay, and actually, this is a map about in the past year, Japan has shipped $347 billion worth of products around the globe. And its top 5 international trade customers are mainland China, the United States, South Korea, Hong Kong SAR, and Thailand. So if your company offers MBA sponsorship to you, which is the best country to study MBA abroad? Some of you might think about the US, right? Why? Because it's the nation-originated degree and boasts many of the world's most highly ranked business schools. Meanwhile, it is the second largest trade customer of business. When a student is thinking about becoming an MBA candidate or MBA graduate, he is mainly focused on the business in the future. For trade, it's business between countries. However, on a second thought, you might think that China can be a good choice as well, right? Not only it is the largest trade customer of Japan, but also it is very close to Japan geographically and culturally. Like we share lots of traditional festivals originated from our ancestors. We are wearing the same skin tone and hair color. You won't be treated as an alien by your appearance if you are here. What's more, to study in China, to be specific, to study in Shanghai, it is only 2-hour flight away from your home, while to study in the US, it will take you more than 12 hours by air. Actually, these just are some very subjective viewpoints. And as I am an MBA graduate myself, I would like to look into a case from a more objective way. So before today's webinar, I did a very quick research online and have some figures. All the numbers are officially released by the Cabinet Office, Japan Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications, National Bureau of Statistics of China, Bank of China, and the Federal Reserve, etc. For these very important indicators, we can tell China is a very ideal place for doing business. The cost of money is relatively low. Both manufacturers and the consumers have confidence in its market. Inflation is well under control, and the GDP growth is not as high as previous year, though, because Chinese government needs a sustainable GDP growth rate rather than an overheated economy. But actually, it is much better than its counterparts. So, and when I combine the tree map of the Japan export by country, I found that more than half of Japan's international exports are made within Asia, which well demonstrates a saying. The world is moving east. Therefore, if you want to get the most out of an MBA program, stay in Asia, that will be a very wise choice for you guys. Of course, there are lots of MBA programs offered in Asia. So to save time, I've got a very smart and quick choice for you. Always go with the top first. If you still want to study in the United States for MBA, try to get into the Harvard Business School. And if you want to stay in Asia, try to get into Ceibs. MBA from China Europe International Business School, also known as Ceibs, ranked top first in Asia for 7 consecutive years. And now I'd like to show you why we get this honor for such a long time. First, as Lena has talked before, faculty, actually they are our most important intangible assets of Ceibs. The main responsibilities of Ceibs faculty are teaching and researching. One of our popular professors told me that the school requires them to update their syllabus every 6 months in order to keep our students up to date with trends and changes in the business world. While when she was teaching in a leading business school in the United States before she joined the Ceibs, she could use her syllabus for 5 years without any change. So, if you are thinking about to become a professor in Ceibs, please don't, because you will get a lot of pressure on that. But if you are thinking about becoming an MBA student in Ceibs, that will be a very good deal. Because, yeah, you can see our professors has devoted so many times and energy to put up their syllabus and their cases. Except for teaching, researching is another important part, which includes paper writing, attending international academic conferences around the world, and visiting enterprises in China. Why? Because our professors also have to team up with the IBS Case Center in developing high-quality China-focused cases. So you won't see those cases in any like European country MBA programs, but just here in Ceibs. So this is how our faculty demonstrate Ceibs slogan, China depth, world breadth. As the IBS has this group of dedicated professors, MBA students enjoy a wide variety of courses. Apart from core courses, there are more than 40 electives students can choose from, covering all aspects of business, such as finance and accounting, marketing, organizational behavior and human resources, strategy and entrepreneurship, economics and decision science. As entrepreneurship and strategic planning is such a big hit in recent years, so I've included a list of electives that is in this field for your reference. Actually, this is just a glimpse of electives offered in Ceibs MBA program. Apart from attending lectures in classroom, MBA students are given the opportunity to gain hands-on experiences on the project called ICSP, known as Integrated China Strategy Project. During the project, MBA students are treated as a part of sponsor firms. They undertake consulting projects under the guidance of Ceibs faculty advisors and company executive mentors, working in teams to help companies to address important strategic issues from a new perspective and develop innovative solutions. Our international students say they really gain from this project, as it is a great opportunity for them to know how business in China runs and operates, and how businessmen in China think. Apart from getting to know the business environment in China by joining in those electives, reading local cases, and ICSP, an important element of schools' internationalism is international exchange program. This international exchange program offers a unique opportunity for students to participate in a two-way exchange with 40 partner schools, most of which are among the Financial Times Global Top 50 list. As it is a two-way exchange program, if a student chooses to stay in Ceibs, he will have the chance to study in the same classroom with a large number of inbound exchange students from world's top business schools. And meanwhile, which is also another intangible asset of Ceibs, is our alumni network. Having a strong alumni network is key for a world-class business school. Ceibs has a large and engaged alumni network with over 28,000 graduates around the globe. And the Ceibs MBA mentoring program provides our current MBA students with the opportunity to have private conversations with our alumni or current EMBA or GEMBA students. And MBA students will gain valuable advice beyond the classroom, which help them grow and develop as a business professional. And actually, to sum up what I have said, to study in Ceibs MBA means that a candidate are at world's most dynamic metropolis here in Shanghai. And meanwhile, you will be able to redefine China in a truly global context. And you will get inspired by faculty bridging international best practice. You will become a consultant on the 3-month strategic project called ICSP and find your focus by choosing from more than 50 electives. You will meet your mentors from China's largest business school network and go on an exchange at top business school, with which we have partnership, including Wharton, INSEAD, LBS, and etc. And we will fund your future through our generous offering of financial aid, which I will mention that later. And here is a very quick view of our MBA program overview. This is a 16-month-long full-time project taught in English, and the tuition fee for our MBA is 468,000 Chinese yuan, which is equivalent to 9.17 million Japanese yen. This is applied to 2023 intake. And to be a very qualified applicant, we expect our candidate to have a bachelor degree or above with full-time working experience of 2 years or more. Meanwhile, he or she needs a GRE or GMAT score. If not, you are able to participate in Ceibs admissions test. And as it is a full-time English program, we require our candidates to have fluency in English if they are not native speaker. And next, I'm going to talk about our financial aid. So usually we have 2 kinds of like scholarship offered, like merit-based scholarships or need-based fellowships. And also we have education funds available for students to apply for if they do have some like financial difficulties in fully finance their tuition. And for international students, we also have student loan interest subsidy for a student who has got a student loan from either a domestic or international finance institute. They will get up to 30,000 Chinese yuan interest subsidy. And actually, around 40% of our MBA students admitted in 2022 received scholarships or fellowships covering 20 to 70% of the tuition, which is a quite big coverage. And because we really value the talents and we need to provide them with education they deserve, that's why we give these generous offerings on financial aid. And I'd like to conclude my today's sharing by quote a Japanese MBA, and he is now currently CEO of a major company in Japan. And he said, actually, recently, Japanese students might feel comfortable to stay in Japan, but then it might be too late for them to be able to adapt to a changing world. So he thinks they have to take a chance. And actually, Japanese graduates from MBA programs have dropped in recent years. And Mr. Sato worries that the decline will have considerable negative impact on business leadership in Japan, and hence on the future of business in his home country. Therefore, if you'd like to take up a leadership role in the future, it's time for you to take action, like follow the guidance from Alpha advisors, and then reach out to as many as admissions officers around the world to find a best fit MBA program for you. And here is a testimonial from our admitted students. He also comes from Japan. His name is Jun Ikaki, and he is a chairman of Japanese cosmetic company, and being a chairman of Shanghai branch. he told me that he has been fascinated by the vibrancy of China and have long aspired to serve as a bridge between China and Japan. And that's why he finally chose to study in China rather than in any other country. And I think I'd like to share his testimonial with all those students who are preparing for their MBA programs. And hopefully we'll have someone like Junikaki in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ringlin. Okay, so we have lots of questions from audience, and then let's move on to the Q&A session. Okay. Can you share your screen, Ringlin? I think the last slide is great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go down.
はい。ということで、一通りグローバルエグゼクティブ MBA とフルタイムの MBA 両方説明いただきました。で、アルファでもグローバルエグゼクティブ MBA、学校によって呼び方は違うんですけれども、EMBA というやつですね、エグゼクティブ MBA で、基本的にはマネージメント経験があったりとか、年齢で言うと30代前半の方も受かってる方いるんですけど、30代半ばから40代くらいの人がボリュームゾーンっていう感じのエグゼクティブ MBA。これがお仕事を続けながら行く方で、後半で説明をいただいたのがフルタイムの MBA のプログラムですね。はい。で、フルタイムは完全に学校を辞めていくタイプということで、こちらにもね、出てますけど、そのシーブスの方はですね、本当にビジネスエリアで活躍されて、特に起業家とかファウンダーの方もたくさんいらっしゃるので、そのあたりも後で聞いていきたいと思うんですけど、まず皆さんからいただいている質問について、いろいろね、伺っていこうと思います。The first question is about career destination.So, can you share with us recent career destination of Japanese alumni in regards what sector and what companies?
Oh, yes, we do have lots of Japanese alumni in the past, like a Japanese alumni called Gon. He graduated in 2018 and he worked for Mitsubishi, and then he began his own business.Later, he became a boss of his own and being an entrepreneur. So, which is quite common for our MBA graduates because they, especially students like from Japan, because they know this market well and they have a close relationship and they become a bridge between Japan and China. They know the two sides well. So, to have their own business is a very common thing.And I think we do have a former MBA alumni called Sadake. I think he graduated even earlier, and he's now I think he took the joint coordinate degree, like a 1-year program here in Ceibs MBA. Then he joined the Johns Hopkins, and finally he became a CEO. I think of a very prestigious Japanese company. Just let me pull out his information to check what is that.Okay.
So if there are any Japanese student who got a job in China right after the graduation?
Oh yes, we do have lots of Japanese students got a offer here in China. Like most students, Japanese students, they have a very good mastery of Chinese language. Their chance to get a offer here will be much higher because they know Japanese, they can communicate with their home country. Meanwhile, they speak some Chinese and they can communicate with their local colleagues. And they know the business in Japan and know the business here in China. And also those ICSP projects. And also we have some China modules. Literary students are going to visiting some local companies. They are going to gain some first-hand in-depth understanding of the Chinese local business. If they seize the opportunity, stand-up students will have a written offer doing their ICSP project or doing their internship here in China. So to find a job directly from Japan here in China is not that easy. But once you join Ceibs, we got a very good network, and we got a very helpful alumni, and we got a very supportive career development center counselors. Altogether, they will help a MBA student, especially international students, to landing a job. Because I was once an international student in a US MBA program, and I can tell being international will definitely have some barrier in front of us in finding a job in the other country rather than our home country. But with the help of so many resources we have in Ceibs, lots of our brilliant international students, including Japanese students, have landing a very excellent job.
Thank you. So when student graduates Ceibs, so student can meet the requirement for working visa or some other.
Oh yes, as long as they get an offer and the company is willing to sponsor their visa, they will get a chance to working here in China. And I think working visa here in China for a MBA graduate won't be very difficult. So it's not like in the US you have to participate in a lottery, so only a part of students will getting working visa. And actually those PhD students from the STEM will get the highest chance to having a working visa in the US. But compared to that, MBA graduates probably will have a lower chance to getting working visa. But here in China, I think as long as a student landing a job and the company sponsors him or her visa, that will be easy. That can be easily get.
Thank you. はい。ということで、卒業後の進路ということで、いろいろな業界に行く方が本当にいるというのと、あと起業する方も結構いるよっていうのをおっしゃっていました。で、就職というところでいくと、日本に帰ってきて外資系とかに行ったり、あとそのまま自分の会社で、もっと職位を上げてマネージャーとか CXO になる方もいるんですけれども、中国にそのまま就職する人も結構、日本人にも結構いるということですね。で、アメリカなんかと違って卒業したら、現地に残れるよっていうよりは、会社から、ジョブオファーが、会社から仕事が雇われた場合にビザが出るので、むしろ雇われたらビザが出やすいというか、なのでそこの職を得るところまでですかね。そこで職が得られればビザが下りるということでした。はい。ちょっとで次ですね。中国とヨーロッパの組み合わせの意義はどこにあるのでしょうかということで、結構、ヨーロッパの学校とのエクスチェンジプログラムも多かったかなと思うんですけども、伺いたいと思います。So the next question is about the exchange or combination program with other business schools. What is the significance of studying in China and Europe? I think there are a lot of exchange program with Europe, and also there is some US top business school. But is there some specific intention or significance of studying in China and Europe?
Sorry, Amy, are you asking Lingjun or?
Yes, I think this question is both appropriate for a Emba and full-time MBA. So can you answer this question, Lina?
Yes, certainly. So I think Lingjun also mentioned a lot about the significance of the economy of the world moving towards Asia right? And China will be the main driver for that, despite any geopolitical tensions or otherwise. There is no doubt that there is growth here still, and there will be in the Asia region. So I think that is one of the reasons to be in this region, as Ling Jun also mentioned, right? A lot of companies will either have China as a market or have potentially production or related supply chain here. So there is good reason to have an understanding of the business environment here for general opportunities for your own company, and if not even for your company, for your industry. As there may also be, of course, competitors in this market that are moving out globally into the global markets. And I think, of course, Europe, we have our campus there in Europe. As Ling Jun mentioned, there's exchanges in the MBA, and we also have opportunities to have some module exchange in the global EMBA for different universities around the world. And obviously, Europe and China are very important for each other. So because of our structure, Ceibs' history, we are actually a bridge between China and the world. But in particular, we have a strong link to Europe as well.
Thank you. はい。なので、さっきですね、エクスチェンジプログラムとかたくさん出てたと思うんですけど、結構他の学校、アメリカもヨーロッパもエクスチェンジプログラムがあるので、多分ですね、グローバルエグゼクティブ MBA の方は、どっちかっていうとアメリカっていうよりはヨーロッパとか、あとアフリカとかあったと思いますね。で、フルタイムの方は、先ほど出していただいたスライドだと、かなり US のスクールもありましたかね。40個くらい、交換留学先があって、しかもかなりトップスクールでしたね。ちょっと後でまたスライド出してもらえればと思いますけれども、インシアードとか、ウォートン、あと LBS、シカゴとか、ケロックとかですね、HEC、パリスとか、ミシガンとか、アメリカ、US のトップスクールも、あと NYU もね、ありましたね。なので、そこに交換留学に行けるということで、これ、ヨーロッパ行きたい人はヨーロッパ行ってもいいと思いますし、アメリカと、中国と両方抑えられるというね、かなり強いプログラムなんじゃないかなと思います。はい。あとはですね、ビザですかね。先ほど就職のビザについて伺ったんですけど、起業するときなんかもビザについてちょっと伺いたいと思います。So, Lena, I heard from you, there are lots of founder and alumni who start their startups during the program or right after graduation. So do they have any specific visa for something, entrepreneur visa or something in China? Or how do they start their business, especially in China?
Yes, thank you. I think a lot of the students that we see in the global executive MBA, they are CEOs or they are directors or they are founders, as you mentioned, entrepreneurs of their own company. In fact, because the degree is part-time, the school will not be related to their visa. However, in China, when you do start up a company, there are options to have visas, especially for entrepreneurs. And of course, in different countries, there are different industries that are specifically supported. So, for example, in some technology areas, there will be a need to see companies develop here. There will, of course, be a market as well. So I think the chance for entrepreneurs to start when they are here or before coming, the support that you get from Ceibs is, first of all, the academic support, but also the support of your network and classmates. But the visa itself will be supported elsewhere.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great answer. ということで、起業する場合にはですね、中国は起業のするときにもビザがそのためにもらえたりするということなので、あとはシーブスに行くとそういうネットワークとか、もちろん起業するためのスキルとかも身につくので、日本に帰ってきて起業して、今度ね、ぜひお話しいただければと思うんですけれども、ヘルスケアのスタートアップですね、キュアアップというスタートアップをやっていて、ちょうど 医療機器でもですね、分野でも私なんかもすごいなと思って拝見してるんですけども、そういったヘルスケアのスタートアップ CEO をやられて、今ね、上場を目指している会社なんかもありますし、あとは中国でそのまま起業する方もいますので、実は起業にものすごく強い世界の偉大な経営者の方たちを輩出している学校なので、もうこれからグローバルで、しかも中国という大きなマーケットを抑えて起業したいという方には本当にぴったりのプログラムかなと思います。はい。で、あとはですね、ローンとかの話ですね。グローバルエグゼクティブ MBA。比較的年齢差が上の方、マネジメント向けの MBA とか MBA、奨学金がローンあるかっていうことなんですけども、伺っていきたいと思います。The next question is about the financial aid. Lena, do your Emba program have some financial aid for students?
We do offer some scholarships, and actually, as you just mentioned, entrepreneurs. So we have, for example, scholarship covering entrepreneurs, as well as others. We have a female leadership scholarship. We also have a diversity scholarship and a CSR as well. So those are some of the things that would be available for potential global EMBA executive students.
Thank you. はい。なので、グローバルエグゼクティブ MBA の方もスカラシップとかファイナンシャルエイドがあるということなので、ぜひ皆さんそちらもご相談ください。MBA はですね、資金がやっぱり皆さん大きな資金を投下していくっていうイメージもお持ちの方と多いと思いますし、確かにある程度値段はするんですけども、中国の場合はですね、このチャイナ、シーブスの MBA はアメリカとかヨーロッパに比べると比較的授業料が抑えられていけたりしますし、あとはこの後の質問にもありますけど、リビングコストですね、生活費とかも比較的アメリカなんかよりも安く済むんじゃないかなと思います。はい、あと期間も、フルタイムの方が16ヶ月なので、1年ちょっとですね。で、グローバルエグゼクティブ MBA の方も、そちらは基本的に働きながらなので、あんまり休職期間とか離職期間ではないんですけど、20ヶ月。で、しかも、トータル50日間、会社を、休むなりしていくっていうことなので、かなりスケジュールとしては組みやすい、かつ費用的にも行きやすいんじゃないかなと思います。はい。で、そうですね。あと次ですね。皆さん、どのようなところに住んでおり、リビングコストはどれくらいでしょうかということで、書いてありますね。では、ちょっと次。So the next question is about student life in China or around the Ceibs. So can you share the student living cost and their living environment? Do you have the Ceibs dormitory or some housing service? I think Linguin is.
Yes, I'm going to answer that because it's a full-time program, and most of our MBA students are living on campus in our dorm, and I think the dorm charge pretty reasonable fee, which is 3,000 Chinese yuan per month for a long-term lease. That will be equivalent to around like less than $500 1 month. And by living on campus, students will join the most convenient life here. We have a school canteen, like serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we have a laundry on campus. And the dorm is only like 2 minutes away from our canteen and 3 minutes away from our academic building where our students will have their class in. So literally everything is within a very convenient distance. So I highly recommend the students to live on campus in the dorm if they are enrolled and become MBA students in Ceibs.
Thank you. So the dormitory for monthly fee is 3,000 Chinese. Okay, thank you. はい、ということで、かなりリビングコスト、生活費はリーズナブルっていうふうにおっしゃってましたね。まず量があるということで、かなりそれが3000、中国元で3000で、今見たらだいたい1チャイニーズ元が19、20円として、 6万円くらいですかね。家賃6万円くらいで、寮だと住めるということで、あと学校の寮はね、だいたい近くにありますし、食堂とかもすごく行きやすい近くにあるということなので、かなり住みやすい環境なんじゃないかなと思います。はい。次ですね、アプリケーションのところです。Ceibsの MBA のテスト要件とデッドラインを教えてください。で、フルタイムの人はどこに住んでいますかっていうのは、寮があるということなので、寮はありますということですね。The next question is about the MBA application process. Can you share the MBA application process for Gamba and full-time each? So can you start linking for MBA application process and deadline? Oh, I think you muted yourself.
Because the admission cycle for 2023 intake has come to an end, and we don't have a set deadline or runs for an MBA admissions in 2024 intake. But I'd like to show you some thing which is related to this year's admission cycle. Probably that will give you a very brief idea. So this is for 2023 intake. We have altogether 4 rounds, and we got deadline and the decision release date. So if a student apply by November the 16th, that is the first round. And in the past year, 2022, and she will be given the admission decision in 1 month later. So my assumption that will be in 2023 application cycle, which will be for MBA 2024 intake. I think the timeline will be very similar to this.
Thank you. Let me follow this in Japanese. なので、デッドラインがだいたい、去年は11月から始まったということで、今年ももうそろそろアナウンスされるということですね。9月くらいから始まるんじゃないかなと思いますけれども、はい、9月ぐらいからアプリケーションが出すことができて、11月から始まって、1、2、3、4と4回ラウンドがありますので、どこかで出せばってことですね。で、2年間、勤務経験がある方であれば受験できますので、あとは GMAT、GRE が必要ということですね。So, students do not need to submit some Chinese language requirement or something?
No, they don't. Like here we have said, first step is to submit an online application form in our application system, and just to create a application account on CIBS application portal. And in the application form, students need to fill in their basic information and answer several essay questions related to their personal experience or work experience in the past, and provide with 2 letters of recommendations and some supporting materials like their undergrad transcript, their resume, and or their certificates or professional certificates in the past if they have any. So all these information are required to input by English. So applicants don't have to worry if they don't know any Chinese.
Okay.
So, yeah, and after they have submitted application form, their application will begin to be reviewed. We call it initial interview. If the application material passed the initial review stage, they will receive an interview invitation, which can be either in person or online. And after the interview, if they did well in the interview, or they will finally get an admissions offer. So admission notifications means the day of the decision release.
Thank you. はい、なので皆さん、出願の際は中国語は特に 必要では、もちろん話せる方はいいと思うんですけど、別にできなくても大丈夫。すべて英語で大丈夫ってことですね。はい。Lena, can you share the information for?
We share here. So I think actually our application process is somewhat similar to the MBA. As I mentioned before, it's everything in an online universe, but we basically have, you can say, 3 steps. One is filling in all those basic informations similar to what Lingjun also mentioned, your degree programs, some essay questions, some background of your company, a diagram of where you are, and some references. This is one of the steps. The second step is we do not require GMAT for the global MBA, but we do require what is called an executive assessment test. This is also a globalized, standardized test that many of the top schools use for the executive MBA programs. So this test we needed to have it as a second step. And also this can, in some cases, be taken online. In other cases, must take it in their test centers. The third step is the interview. So we also have an interview with an alumni and a professor together. After these 3 steps are completed, if everything goes well, there will be an admission decision a couple of weeks later. However, one thing that I would like to add to this is typically we see that the later rounds are more competitive. So there are more applicants typically in the later rounds. So for those considering to apply, I would advise to consider earlier rounds.
Thank you. エグゼクティブ MBA の方は、あと8月と10月と、チャンスがあります。そこに合格をすると、12月からですね、プログラムを開始することができます。で、基本的にレジュメとかエッセイとか推薦状とか、あとはオーガニゼーショナルチャートで組織図を出したりというところで、通常の MBA とほとんど変わらないんですけど、あとは EA ですね。もうエグゼクティブ MBA といえば EA という、最近はいろいろな、MBA、コロンビアとか NYU とかいろんなところも EA 取り入れてるんですけど、GMAT よりかなり簡単なテストになっておりますので、特にテストのところはミドルキャリアの方、EMBA 行く方は心配しなくていいかなと思います。Thank you. So, じゃあ次の質問に行きたいと思います。皆さん、これさっき言った。はい、中国語を学ぶ授業もあるのでしょうか？どれくらいの中国語レベルが入学までに必要でしょうかということで、中国語は入学までには必要ないということをさっきおっしゃってたので、別にはできなくて大丈夫ですということですね。So could you share some Chinese class offered in your program?
You mean the ones focusing on China market or China depth?
Sorry, Chinese language program. Do you offer some Chinese language program to students? Lena?
No, we don't offer any language in the global MBA. And similar to the MBA, we also don't have any requirements for Chinese language.
So, okay, so for full-time MBA, Linguin, how do students learn Chinese language?
Yes, we do offer like free Chinese language tutorial in our program to our international students because they are a full-time MBA student here in Shanghai. And different from like Emba students, they probably only visit our campus like once a month or twice a month. And it's a kind of short stay compared to MBA students. They have to live here in China, so we are offering Chinese language tutorial to our international MBA students, which is free of charge.
Thank you. Is it mandatory for all students?
No, it is not mandatory. Students can opt in for this tutorial. I think most international students will take advantage of this because it's free and they really want to learn the language to better engage themselves in this community.
Definitely. Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, our Chinese students are also very willing to send Chinese to our international students. And I can tell when our international students get graduated, they can speak very nice Chinese, which really amazed me.
Thank you. はい。ということで、中国語はね、学べるのはとても魅力的かなと思うんですけど、まずはフリーのクラスがフルタイムの場合は、1ヶ月に1回とか、2ヶ月に1回とか、選択式で、そこは自由だということなんですけど、取ることができるので、そこはフリーで、無料で中国語を勉強する環境ができるというのと、あとは生徒の中国人のネイティブの方たちがもちろんたくさんいるので、生徒さんから勉強したり学んだり、クラスディスカッションとかもね、あると思いますし、基本的には英語だと思いますけど、ネイティブの方がたくさんいるので、それで学んで、卒業する頃にはナイスなチャイニーズを話せる方ですね、マンダリンが話せる方がいたりするということなので、特に中国マーケットのをやりたいとか、ネットワークが欲しいとかっていう方はとってもいいんじゃないかなと思います。はい、ということで、次のご質問が最後ですかね。はい。中国は政策リスクが高いかなと思っていますが、ということですね。はい。ということで、じゃあちょっと次、こちらも聞いていきたいと思います。So this is a question about China policy for international students. So China is very attractive, but there are something that are sometimes insecure for international students. So they can sometimes feel insecure feelings about that. So how do you feel about that for international students?
Yes, actually, I'd like to share first. And because I have lots of interactions with our students, especially international students, they feel here living in Shanghai make them feel it's really secure, even secure than their hometown, in their home country. And actually, Ceibs Shanghai campus is located in Pudongniu area in Jingqiao. Here in Biyun community. Biyun community is a very foreign-friendly community, which I think is a very safe place to live and study in, which I think probably Lina as a foreigner will have more saying on that.
Yes, certainly. I agree with what Lingjun is saying. As I mentioned before, I'm from Denmark, also a country where I feel relatively safe in my home country. But I would say overall, I feel also very safe in China. And it's very easy to spot that I'm not local, I would say, right? So, but I also want to add that, as I mentioned about the program, we do value diversity. So we're not only trying to achieve diversity in terms of background and all that in the program, but we're also looking for people who value this, who see the benefit of diversity as something that will enrich not only their knowledge, but also their life. So I think this is the spirit at Ceibs. So that's something to remember, that it is an international environment and an international business school. But beyond the campus and the school, I do feel that Shanghai as a city is also quite international and similarly value that diversity. So for safety, I think that's a pretty good level already.
Thank you. Yeah, that sounds great. そうですね、中国はですね、政策的なところとかで、ちょっとどうなんだろうとかね、COVID の時は、なんだあれ、キャランティーンじゃなくて、何でしたっけ、隔離があったりして、心配されている方もいたかもしれないんですけれども、かなりセキュアな、安全な環境ということで、言っていただいてたので、今お話しいただいたレイナさんもですね、デンマークから来てるということで、デンマークってなんかすごく安全というかね、平和な雰囲気がありますけど、それよりも平和なんじゃないかっていうぐらいね、安全な環境ということなので、ぜひ興味がある方は、シーブスとても素晴らしい、特にチャイナ 中国のマーケット興味がある方とか、アジアのビジネスやる方なんかはですね、アルファとしても中国はかなり注目をしていて、今回一緒に動画やらせていただいたりですね、ご一緒させていただくのも大変ありがたい、嬉しい機会だなと思ってるんですけども、中国はかなりこれからマーケットも成長しているので、ぜひ興味がある方はいつでもご相談いただいて、アルファは中国のみならず、もちろん欧米、アジアと、いろんな地域の MBA をサポートしているので、自分はどういう学校がいいかなっていうところから、ぜひご相談いただければと思います。最後にですね、お二人からコメントをいただいて、あとは、私からもイベントのお知らせをして、終わりたいと思います。So the questions from audience is that's all. And next I will briefly introduce the event on 24th June, and then I want to move on to the closing remarks from both of you, and then end this webinar. はい、ということで、最後にイベントのもう一回ですね、お知らせをしたいと思います。こちらですね。はい、6月の24日にシャングリラホテル東京で行います。東京の駅のすぐ近くにあるホテルですね。今回は一つはこの体験事業です。Rethinking Consumers and Competition in the China Market という、特に中国でのビジネスに興味がある方なんかすごく興味深い内容じゃないかなと思いますし、MBA 今ちょうどどうしようかなって考えている方多いと思うんですけども、なかなか事業が直接対面で体験できる機会ってないので、基本的にどのビジネススクールもですね、形式とか事業の感じはなんとなく似てたりもするので、そこは行ってみて、こういう感じかっていうのを体感いただけるので、ぜひ、シーブスのみならず、MBA 興味あるなとか、海外で学びたいなって思っている方は、ぜひ来ていただければと思います。6月24日6時半ですね。あとは今回、卒業生の方が、なんと20人以上来られるということで、素晴らしいアラムナイネットワークだなと思ったんですけども、なかなかそんなにね、卒業生集まることないと思うんですけども、卒業生の方がかなりの数来られるということで、いろいろな業界で活躍していらっしゃる方とか、起業していらっしゃる方とかいると思いますので、直接の日本人のね、基本的には卒業生の方なので、なんで中国の MBA 行ったのかとか、MBA 受験のこととか、直接質問していただけると思いますので、ぜひ皆さんふるってご参加ください。一応ですね、私とアルファ代表の入住さんも招待いただいているので、当日は伺おうかなと思っています。で、アルファにこれからご相談いただく方もたくさんいらっしゃると思うんですけど、このイベントに出た方は、シーブスのみならず、MBA の学校の相談とか、アプリケーションのサポート、割引でご案内してますので、ぜひご興味がある方はイベントに参加してアルファにも相談していただければと思います。はい。ということで、ぜひですね、MBA 考えている方はいつでもアルファにご相談いただければと思います。はい。では最後に、お二人からですね、コメントもいただいて終わりにしようかなと思います。Could you give us some closing remarks starting from Lena?
Of course. Thank you so much, first of all, for the time today and for your excellent question, and of course the moderation from your side, Amy. I want to close by saying I hope you got a lot out of this session today, but I want to encourage you to participate in this event on June 24th. The reason is here you can meet alumni, you can experience the professor for yourself. It's an excellent opportunity to actually find out more information that I cannot or Ling Jun cannot share with you here today. And this will be a great step for you in your search for the exactly right program for you. So I hope you will go. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ling Jun, can you start your comments at the end? 若干コネクションがあまり良くないかもしれないので、ちょっとまたですね、このイベントの時にいろいろフルタイム MBA のことに聞いていただければと思います。今、リーナさんも言っていただきましたけれども、実際にアドミッションの方が聞くと違う角度で卒業生の方に、結構ね、皆さん 正直ベースというか、実際どうだったんですかとか、受験どうだったんですかとか、他どんな学校受けたんですかとか、いろいろ聞いていただけるので、ぜひご参加いただければと思います。で、ご相談はアルファでいつでも受け付けてますので、MBA 行こうかな、どうしようかなとか、学校どうしようかな、仕事を辞めていくのどうなんだろうとか、あとは EMBA なら仕事を辞めずに行かれるので、それはどうなんですかとか、MBA 行ったらどういうキャリアになるんですかとかですね、皆さん全然ノープランのところからご相談いただいて構いませんし、むしろそういう方の方が多いですので、いつでも無料相談入れていただければと思います。アルファアドバイザーズ無料相談で検索していただいて、ウェブサイト今すぐ無料相談というところ、あるいは公式の LINE からご相談いただければと思います。はい、ということで、引き続きいろいろなですね、学校のご紹介もしたいと思いますし、シーブスはですね、本当に私もエクスチェンジあんなにたくさんあると思ってなかったんですけど、アメリカのトップスクールにも行けるプログラムなので、ご興味がある方はいつでもご相談いただければと思います。So thank you, Lina and Ringling, for today's great session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. では皆さんも引き続きよろしくお願いします。Thank you. Bye.